Today's date is January 19th, 2026, and at 7:44 p.m. Central Standard Time, the sun will make its ingress into Aquarius. February 2nd, divine willing, I will enter my 49th year of existence in this trip on to the earth. And I can say I've never experienced any energy like what we're experiencing now. And I've never experienced what I perceive to be coming. To say change is at the at our at the threshold of our reality in a way we've never seen before is an understatement. And this week of January, starting at January 18th, really, January 18th through January 26th is such a big part of this new world that is emerging. So we've got this cavalcade of planetary bodies that will approach, conjunct, and pass, the planet Pluto. And it began last night on the 18th with the moon making its conjunction with Pluto. Then later today or this evening, Venus will make its conjunction with Pluto. And when I say today, I'm talking about January 19th. January 22nd, Mercury makes its conjunction with Pluto. January 23rd, the Sun makes its conjunction with Pluto. January 27th, Mars makes its conjunction with Pluto. So did I say January 26th? So it's January 19th through the 27th. This big window of change that opens up the Aquarius season. In the midst of all of this energy, we have Neptune on the 26th. And I wanted to clock this time, 11:38 a.m. Central Standard Time. Neptune makes its ingress. And this is the real deal one because it's not dipping its toe in the water. We've had that already. Or it'd be better to say dipping its toe in the fire in Aries. And then it retrograde back into Pisces. But no, this is it. Neptune is in Aries for good, beginning January 26th at 11:38 a.m. Central Standard Time. And when it hits this zero of Aries, it's on what's called the world point or the world axis. Now, you want to look in your chart and see if you have any planets or points, key points in your chart at zero of Aries. Now, I have one in my chart and I've been feeling it. And of course, this if you got anything at 29 of Pisces, you're really feeling it. And for that matter, 29 of Virgo, and then to a lesser degree, 29 of the other mutables. But I want to focus on specifically if you have anything at zero of Aries. It's zero of Aries because it really, really spells a moment of birth, of just rapid change, whether you want it or not. It's a faded situation of new emergence, and you're feeling it. You're feeling the tides rise. You're feeling the anxiety. You're feeling the energy as it bubbles up to the surface. This is the cusp of something we don't quite have full understanding of. We only have personal experiences and an intuitive knowing of what is building within us based on the work that has gone on while all these outer planets were in the feminine signs of Taurus, Capricorn, Pisces, respectively. But what we do know by planetary archetype is wherever Neptune goes, it causes a fusion, and it fuses us with something beyond just this 3D reality. And that fusion can be quite uncomfortable because it makes us feel uncertain. It makes us clamor for focus. But what it also does is invites us into that part of our psyche that sees into other realms and has vision beyond the limitations of three-dimensional sight. So just as much discomfort as is caused and raised, there is also an invitation to be magical, to be powerful, to be visionary, to be imaginative. So that kicks off January 26th. And everything's moving in layers because you got all this Aquarius energy. Then you have Neptune making its ingress. Then later in February, Saturn will make its ingress. Did I say later in February? Well, the beginning of February, Saturn makes its ingress into Aries. And by the 20th, Saturn and Neptune will meet up. They'll be exactly partile in Aries at 0. And I can't remember the exact degree that they'll be at as far as minutes. It'll be 0 degrees, and I can't remember how many minutes of Aries, but it will be exact. So we got all this going on in layers. It's almost like tidal waves coming in layers, and this new world is being thrust upon us. And the new world is, here's the irony. It's a new world, but it's the new world that we've been creating the whole time, though. So it's not like it's some external new world. It's the reality of newness as an archetype, but the newness is based on whatever we were already building in the old world, because it's individual, it's Aries. So the world will reflect to us what we have been building. Now back to Pluto, because all these planets will form conjunctions with Pluto over these next 9 days or so. Thinking about Pluto, there's so much to be said about Pluto. It's the planet that we associate with death, right? We associate transformation with Pluto, and before something can transform, it has to end in the cycle it previously was in, which is what denotes death. Pluto has been given modern rulership of Scorpio, and Scorpio is a sign we associate with death. But when you look up the etymology of the word Scorpio, it really means life. So Scorpio, if nothing else, gives us the astrological representation of life after death. Scorpio rules the colon, amongst other things, and the reproductive organs in the body. And so here we have that whole dichotomy of life and death that's played out in rulership of those areas of the body. The colon we talk typically associate where things have that will be excrete waste material to leave the body. So there's the death part. It's what has the dead parts of what we have consumed that remain, and the only place for them to go is to the grave, and the toilet being like the grave, right? But the colon, as part of the large intestine, also has the role of absorbing vital nutrients that will into the bloodstream that will be used to revitalize the body. So there's the life aspect of Scorpio. Then you have the reproductive organs that double as eliminatory, but also, and the eliminatory is the death part, but then the life creation because their function in the continuation of the human race through coitus. So we see the themes of life and death constantly play out as they're associated with Scorpio. And Scorpio, again, given modern rulership by Pluto. Pluto is the lord of the underworld, naturally associated with the subconscious mind. And there's a hidden connection between Pluto and the sun, which is why January 23rd is such a big deal, because there aren't two bodies that could seem more opposite than the sun and Pluto. The sun illuminates, provides the light in this solar system, and Pluto is the agent of darkness. Hades in Greek mythology, wearing the helmet that covers the eyes, can't see. So that speaks to insight. But what's interesting is when you look at the glyph of Pluto, where there's the arc and then there's the dot above the cross, or the arc or crescent, which denotes birth. And so Pluto is being birthed. That's the soul that is being born. And remember that word soul is etymologically associated with solar, sun. So the sun is the operating system within the 3D world, but Pluto represents the sun that is before the 3D, or the sun that works in the hidden realms of the 3D, that it works beneath the surface, the true nuclear power plant that's driving everything, where the true power is coming from. The power comes from the inside and goes and radiates out. The sun shows the radiation of power. Pluto shows the source of the power. And that's how those two are secretly connected. So when they meet up, there's a chance to go down into the depths of ourselves and see what is the true driving force that pushes how we express and how we show light. We're going into the depths where the light is pulled out from. The light comes out of darkness. And here's how Pluto challenges us by it brings all of our dark secrets out. It brings all of the repressed, suppressed things in our consciousness out. What we call taboo, what we call underworld activity, secrets, hidden agendas. That's Pluto. And depending on our ability to cultivate that raw energy, Pluto shows where we are as far as in our spiritual maturity. Do we have the ability to cultivate that crude oil into refined gasoline? Or do we just allow it to sit and fester? That's what Pluto challenges and shows within us. And everything that touches Pluto over these next few days is getting a chance to either go in the grave to be buried or to go into the grave to be resurrected. And that's the great invitation we have kicking off Aquarius season. This is a time, ultimately, if we allow it, of resurrection, which means we can expect a lot of catharsis because resurrection sounds cool on the side of the rising up. And another word for resurrection that sounds less religious is the phoenix rising out of the ashes. Before the phoenix to rise out of the ashes, the phoenix has to endure the crashing to the ground. And the rising out of the ashes means that the phoenix has to release the association with the crash. Because at a certain point, you can start taking on the identity of the descent and the crash, which is like the chaos. And it's like, and that becomes your identity. And then then we can forget that we once knew how to fly. And flying is like riding a road bike. No, if you ever flew, you can always fly again. That's our challenge here as we go into Aquarius season, for the phoenix to learn how to fly again. For the Christ energy, not the religious, but the true Christ energy to be resurrected, which means the God within or the goddess within us to come online. That's the invitation we have as we go into Aquarius season. Now, if you need help managing this energy, there are several things I have to offer to assist. One, we have the 2026 forecast reading, which I have extended the time on the discount. If you go to my website, you see at the bottom the ticker is running. If you go to 720astrology.com, you can book your 2026 forecast reading for 25% off. And you'll see the discount when you check out. You'll see it apply. And it's a nice discount. Also, on February 22nd, I will be holding my intro to medical astrology class. And it begins at 10 a.m. Central Standard Time. When you sign up for the class, you will immediately receive a download of the syllabus / textbook, which is a 26-page slide. And that will give you the basic outline of what we're going to be going over and what you'll be learning. And it gives you something tangible you can keep for yourself to continue to study as your knowledge grows. In addition to that, I'm available through my website for natal chart readings. I always encourage people, if it's your first reading, to start with a natal chart reading. But yeah, those are the offerings that are available for you right now. 720astrology.com. I encourage you to walk into Aquarius season with your chest out, your back bowed, your head held up high, because the mere fact that you are alive at this time in such a vacillating and pioneering time in the human collective, then there's a great chance that there's some great purpose that sits on your life. The question is, do you choose to rise to the challenge, rise to the occasion? Jamal Robinson, 720astrology.com. Know the stars to know yourself. And as always, stay down till you get up. And when you get up, stay down. Peace.